book of Genesis 2:24, where the Bible says, "A man shall leave his mother and father and cling to his wife." Equally, Mathew 19. Let's read from Matthew 19, verse 4. I answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and then twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whoso married her, which is put away from except it be fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whoso married her, which is put away from adultery. Is the James version. So bringing this to this aspect of what the Bible is the James version. So bringing this to this aspect of what the Bible is talking about, I think it's proper for me to say it clearly states that we should be open to companionship in terms of legal factors, in terms of marriage. It means if we're in a courtship or in a relationship, the objective or perspective of that journey should be an intentional agreement and decision to be something of union companionship. Like, if you see you're with this person in a relationship, you'll be thinking of how, and you think, first of all, you can't just get into a relationship just like that. If you guys are compatible to be able to access each other, compatible from a biological, psychological, cohabital point of view, you should be able to see if you can stay with that person. Cohabital point of view, you should be able to see if you can stay with that person. If you can, check the character, check your characters, your temperaments also work, then your careers. So when all these, it takes two people to decide on how they want things to work for them. Generally, it takes two people to decide on how they want things to work for them. It takes two people to decide on what they want for themselves. So if dating is an option, it should be, wait, what are we dating for? If it's that you're someone that is intentional, a type that is serious, if you're like, okay, I think I want to do something serious for myself, it should be with a journey. And we need to avoid mistakes when it comes to choosing a life partner, in the sense that you cannot choose a life partner and make a mistake, or you miss an amazing partner through a wrong decision, which happens a lot of times, because persons can miss amazing partners, and you just see how, and like, someone just takes that partner and the story changes. So something to, I'll say, shine eye to be opened, eyes to really be open, making sure you don't miss an amazing partner when the opportunity comes in. You don't miss an amazing partner when the opportunity comes in. And of course, sticking to the fact that if you're with someone, you guys, in terms of religion, so in terms of faith wise, because if you're a Christian, for example, it would be amazing to get married to a Christian as well. It would be amazing to get a Christian as well. Why? Because your religious stance of and point of view is kind of the same. your faith standards kind of the same. But should it be you get married to somebody of different religion? The Bible comes and says, when it says, husbands love your wives and wife be submissive to your husbands. Now that's a command that God gives to the couple in the sense that he says, he goes for us to say that for the wife can win over the husband through her submissiveness. Submissiveness means, it doesn't mean like maybe going out of your dreams or not considering yourself or wasting yourself because of a man. No, it means valuing yourself. Yes, considering that he's the head of the home. Yes, everyone, like if he says, maybe if you guys decide that this is this and this is that, you let him to be him and you be you. He should feel safe in his own space. He should feel safe in his male figure. He should feel safe in being able to lead. Now, the aspect of being able to lead is a vital aspect for every home, because now you see that that's where you see that there are different types of partners, different types of males, different types of females. So choosing a partner, you must be able to identify that if you're with a man that cannot lead you, there might be issues, because you might be expecting leadership from him, but he's not able to produce that leadership. So that will bring a problem for submission. Why? Because the mom might not be able to submit under some way that cannot lead her. Because women want security, be it spiritual, physical, emotional, psychological. Women want security, and once a man does not see it, it's spiritual, physical, emotional, psychological. Women want security, and once a man does not see it, it's gonna be like a red flag. Red flag. She's like, click. So these are aspects that are supposed to actually be looked upon before getting into eternal bonding. That's the marriage. Because if you're in a courtship and you're dating, you should be able to know that this person I'm dating, I can actually submit under the leadership. This person can lead me. If I'm with this person, I know that I'm going to grow. I know that I'm not going to lose it in life. That is, if you're at the point in life where you're still discovering your purpose, because a lot of people marry early, or in a point in life where you're already functioning your purpose, because a lot of people meet their partners during function of their purpose, or maybe you're in a point in life where you're like, I need someone to be over my side with my purpose, I need someone to stand by me, I need someone to be there to support me, the person that's going to give guidance when I need it. You should be able to identify that this person can do that for me, and the person should be able to do it freely and lovably without trauma. You see, leadership is something that is amazing, because when you can lead your home in all the just ways, your eventual children that will come as a product of reproduction in marriage. You won't jeopardize that, because you know that you have the responsibility to make the right decisions. You have the responsibility, it's like, okay, I can be able to orientate my wife or my kids in terms of my kids. Okay, this is my first child, this is my second, this is my fourth, this is my fifth, this is my seventh. How many number of children care you want to give birth to 15 children in your marriage? That's up to you. You should be able to say, I think, how many number of children care you want to give birth to 15 children in your marriage? That's up to you. You should be able to say, I think, we should be able to be, if you are close to God, you should be able to pray to God and say, like, Lord, show me what you want, what's your will for this child's life. Because if you're, as a parent, if you're close to God, that Lord, show me the will for this child's life, God can show you what he wants for this child. God can show you what he wants this child to become. And the fact that you're hearing God and you have a relationship with God, and God can tell you, like, this person, this child is going to, this is the destiny of this child. You need to orientate the child in that part so that the child does not miss it. Because even if the child might miss orientation from the parents, the child, there's a way that when God's hand is upon your life, he's always going to orientate in a way that the child is going to come back into that purpose, should it be if the child misses it upon growth. That's what's called the mercies of God. It's amazing. But as a parent, you should be able to know who your child is, who is your wife, If you're the man, in this case, you're the man as a leader, you should be able to know who is your wife, who is this child that okay, you guys just had this child, God just gave you this child. You have maybe like how many children that you want, from one to I don't know 17 homes that are really large when you just have 20 children, and all those children you have to know God's will for their life so that they do not miss it in destiny, so that they grow and they get to where they're destined to be, to where God wants it to be. That's if you're in a Christian home. And once even makes things easier because it's going to help in terms of financial decisions, geographical decisions. It's going to help in terms of how this child is supposed to interact with people. It's going to help even with the things the child eats. The aspect of things the child eat. The example of Samson. It happened that Samson's identity was revealed to his parents, and the Lord gives there was a command about his identity, said they shouldn't cut his hair, and that was one of that was a covenant of obedience for his strength. That was just a covenant of obedience. It doesn't mean like for me, I don't think like his strength depended on the hair. It was just a covenant of obedience that God had with this child and his family. And when the hair was cut, the Bible says Samson noticed that he lost his strength. But it did not end there. The hair grew again. And when it grew again, his strength was doubled and he was able to push the pillars of the city, which actually destroyed the city and the people that actually had planned to destroy him. Saying in one day, the city was destroyed. Even though his eyes were plucked out, but his strength, what came back with the restoration was twice. Still on the instruction of children, you can see people like John. When in those days, the Bible reveals in the Old Testament how angelic visitations were very open and as physical as seeing a person itself. So angels can actually come down and talk and talk and talk and talk. So Elizabeth happened to be visited, right? The Lord visits her, give her John the Baptist. And the Bible describes him as the way maker for the Messiah. Perfect. So his parents actually knew the kind of child they had. So imagine that they would have taken John the Baptist and said, okay, we want John the Baptist to be an architect. He's just going to be an architect, he'll design it and everything, constructions. Yeah. Maybe John the Baptist would have been he would have been involved in the building of a temple and things like that at a certain age. And it could be like he would have drifted a bit before coming to his calling. Because kind of stated that the man of Elijah was kind of John the Baptist, and he was behaving. You can see traits and trends of how he was behaving. You can see how he was behaving. You can see his similarities to the prophet Elijah. He was behaving like you could see eating honey, living in wilderness and stuff like that, not wearing clothes made out of animal skin. And you can see Jesus too. The angel actually appeared to Mary and was like, you're going to give birth to the son, you're going to name him this, you're going to name him this. That just show how God is actually intentional about us. If we actually let him, he's actually going to name our children for us. If we give him the chances, even actually going to tell us, it will be so detailed, very detailed about everything about the children, about the children in a home, everything about your wife and your husband. That's when you have the relationship, when what he likes, what he or she doesn't like, what to do with the kids and things like that. That's when the leader is submitted to Christ. So when the father in the home is not submitted to Christ, that's a big red flag, because I'm telling you, the home will certainly have some shaking. Should it be if the mother's faith is not strong in God, or the children are not raised in God, they might face some misplacements. As if the father is not oriented to be able to orient. Like for example, you might be someone that study medicine. I might say all your children are going to go to medicine. You say, I'm not going to choose my children's education, but all of them will do medicine. They've already chosen. What if some of them were not meant to be in medicine school? What if one is supposed to be in medicine school, the other is going to be, what if some of them were not meant to be in medicine school? What if One is supposed to be in medicine school, the other is going to be in another type of school, another is going to take another education, another is supposed to be so. But if you don't understand that the orientation of your children can be different, you might send all of them there. Yes, they might succeed, but they will not succeed as much as they were in their perfect identity or purpose. So that's what happens a lot when I'll say misalignment. Now, there's some kids that can be birthed with multiple gifts. Now the family has to be able to be understanding to allow them to explore, and these kids need support. Well, if the leader of the house is able to identify it, he or she he will be able to orientate the kids. Now, given the wisdom of the wife being submitted to the husband, this is the order. The wife is submitted to the husband is submitted to God. It means the husband is the head of the house, and God is the sovereign brain of the home. That's in the case of a Christian home. Raising the kids in the Christ-like belief. The wife performs her roles. That's why usually before having sex in any relationship, it's important to know like where are we going to, what are we doing. Yeah, because if it happens that the faith is balanced, in the sense that if you say that this is it, I particularly think that if we're in a relationship, it should be for a goal. If it's marriage or courtship, it should not be just to like have fun and go. It should not really just be like one night stands and go. It should be for a long-term purpose. Now that's commitment. And commitment is a long journey. You can't be in a relationship and having sex and even having kids with no plan of getting married. Okay. So if you choose of having sex and having kids, you're not married. Nothing's being planned. You're certainly going to leave that relationship and get to another one. I'm going to have kids there. So it doesn't show any direction. So what I'm being led to say is, when it comes to dating, when it comes to having kids, glory be to God that the orientation should be clear at the very beginning. Both partners should be able to decide what they want. Both partners should be able to decide what they want, because it's not only about satisfying the desires of one partner. It should not just be about satisfying the desires of one partner. Should it be meet someone who already has kids and he says he just wants someone that will be satisfying his sexual desires? Permit me to say that it means that if that's such a case, it depends on you, the female. But if it's that you want a family, you can't really be in that kind of relationship. You know that you can't, because you want a family and you will not want another person to waste your time. You don't want someone postponing. The best thing would be to look forward to actually invest your time in somebody that matches your vision for yourself, if your intention is to start a family, than someone that wants to just be all about himself satisfying his desires and leaving you out. Now, compatibility in terms of careers. If you see that you can handle someone, in the sense that if you both can handle each other and live with each other, you think you're compatible in terms of you both can actually balance each other, no matter the careers, no matter the social ranking, which is amazing. You can balance it. That'll be amazing. But personally, I would say, if you say that person you might not be able to handle, like for example, you have tried, like you're getting, that's dates, not courtship, and you say might not be able to handle such a person, is the most important thing. You should let the person go, let another person handle, because there's no need to stay somewhere that you might feel suppressed or insecure. That's why even before starting new relationships, even avoid things like heartbreak, it's important to know the kind of person that you're with, the person you're going in for. If you're going in for somebody that is absolutely like, if you're going for somebody that is actually like, I think I'll be able to make this work, it'll be amazing. But if you're going with somebody that you might not be able to make things work, maybe for 2 or 3 reasons, I see that maybe that person might be better than another person. If and you try, you invest to make things work, then it might be to leave it. It's worse to date someone that is unsure, or to marry someone that's still very unsure, undecided. It's worse. Both have to be decided. But I've seen cases of cultures where women get married very early, like betrothed men. And well, how do those marriages work? I think they work with submission. Because I think this kind of homes, the women just give birth. How do those marriages work? I think they work with submission. Because I think this kind of homes, the women just give birth to kids and they have something doing their own part, and that's how their home's going. So relationships should not just be about having fun, satisfying desires. It should be about purpose. Because if you're somebody, you see your you see your identity, you know your identity, you're like, I need somebody that can complement me. You cannot make mistake in with your partner choosing. You have to choose the right partner. And you cannot also make the mistake of choosing a very nice partner for you just because you're blind, because you misinterpret the partner's identity. That will be wrong. So you have to be able to discern your partner's identity and see the person for who they actually are. Not every good package will come in a beautiful wrap. Some might come in wraps that maybe are not easily identifiable. You just have to discover it. Others might come in wraps that are easily identifiable. Not every beautiful thing that is packaged means that it's actually beautiful. Not every ugly thing or not that attractive thing packaged in terms of gifts, it means that what is inside is not amazing. Even when traveling, not every expensive looking valise means the content is expensive. Sometimes you see those valises, they don't really have many important things. And not every old looking valise or suitcase means it doesn't have anything there. Some of those old looking suitcase or valises are things that actually they have expensive and very valuable things. You see? So it's important when companionship is very objective. It's important when it's very objective, and things should be discussed from the very beginning. Because it will permit you to know the intentions of the human in front of you. It will permit you to know the intentions of your partner. It will permit you the intentions of what they want. But it should be that it doesn't match. It should be clear to tell yourself the truth that I see this person cannot match and things like that. And there should never be competition. Like if both partners are doing the same thing, the couple should not be influenced by what other people are going to say. Like we see you guys doing the same thing, I think your wife is better than you, or the husband is better than you. You shouldn't be influenced by what other people are going to say. Like we see you guys doing the same thing, I think your wife is better than you, or the husband is better than you. You should never be like that. Both are supposed to function freely. Why? Because they're first of all individuals before being a couple or before being a married couple. It's a way that each person existing has to be free at what they do. Self-expression. Like there was this story that was trending online, you see, where the same minister of gospel, husband was managing her music and something then so happened. She was suffering in silence, then she died. Then people when the story came up, people were like, why did she not ask for help? Why was she suffering in silence? No. People have their reasons for doing things. Well, if the story was true, we don't know, because but me, I heard the story, I just read it online. I know that if the story was true, I cannot really know, because I was in this situation. You know, when stories get out there, they become something else. It's the same as meeting someone online. The apps like Tinder and all those dating apps. You cannot really say because somebody asks you online and the person doesn't make any moves like to get to meet you physically, you can't really define as a relationship. You cannot be extending your feelings on something that's just a mirage, an apparent image. something that's close in imagination. You cannot be investing emotions in those kind of things. You got to be working on eggshells though, because someone from far distance might express their interest online. They might express their interest, and they got to make serious moves regards to whatever they're expressing, because you not just say it is. It has to be serious. It has to be consistent, because it cannot be trauma bonding with somebody, and when I have the years that you're dating yourself, that's crazy. That's crazy. So it's true, a lot of amazing things happens, but we should be sure. I should be open. So going back to today's verse Genesis 2:24, that a man shall leave his mother and father and get cling to his wife, as the Bible describes it, is a union thing. It's an intentional aspect. It's an intentional aspect. And I think when it comes to relationship and culture, both parties should be able to see what they want. There should be mutual respect. Should be able to love, should be able to treat partner. I don't think you're going to relationships to be a lesson, to be a teacher, to teach the person how to love, right? To the person how to behave. No, you shouldn't be like that, because I think at some aspect you really want to be at your objective. You're not going to teach someone. And even if you teach, the person should be able to invest in knowing, in getting things done too. So I think that's just an amazing message that I'm sharing. Control desires, decisions. The man is submitted to Christ, woman submitted to her husband, and the family is submitted, kids are submitted to their parents. So both partners should be able to make decisions. They should be able to agree. Should be able to agree. I'm not going to talk about financial aspect, because people would have different financial aspects. So I'm not going to talk about that, because there are many cases. Indication of who should finance the home, or who should be responsible for taking care of the kids. There are times that maybe the wife might have to be maybe at a meeting or conference and might ask husband to look after the kids. That's if he's available. And he can make himself available, of course. It's his kids anyway. There are homes where the husband might be the sole provider. There are homes where the wife could be the sole provider. There are homes where both can be the sole provider. There are homes where the man might not actually have a problem being a provider, Because as long as the wife is capable of grooming the kids to whoever they are going to become, that's already a big thing, because you cannot miss it on the child's growth. There's this phrase, I don't know if it's an adage that says it's easy to actually give birth to a child. It's very easy. Now the work is to raise the child. It's true. Because whatever content you're going to put in that child, that's what the child is going to grow in. If you train the child in the Lord, the child is going to grow in the Lord. If the fear of the Lord is introduced to the child young age, the child will grow. Should be the child accepts it. The child will grow in the fear of the Lord. But if it's not the case, I'm using the case of Christianity. But if it's not the case, whatever you put in, child grow. For example, if you teach the child that you drink a glass of milk with salt from birth, the child grows up drinking glass of milk with salt. Grows up drinking glass of milk with salt, It's actually going to be a normal thing. Glass of milk with sugar. But they introduce sugar, it's going to be strange. Why? Because that's not the way the child was raised. So you see, orientation is a big factor. So that's all I'll be talking about at the moment with regards to the preaching. So yeah. So I think I'm about to get busy in other things. So just stay on my life.